after someone dies, sometimes people have really vivid experiences. I talked to someone the other day. His father died. He was climbing a ladder outside his mother's house. He was climbing up the ladder. It was his dad's ladder. And suddenly he had this sense of his father looking out through his eyes. And it was just a really short experience, but it was so deep and so incredibly meaningful. And it brought him such peace. And there are lots and lots of experiences people have like that, of the sense of being connected. Sometimes it happens spontaneously. People like that are really lucky, and it's this real gift in the process. But what if it doesn't happen spontaneously? What if you're not feeling those kind of magical synchronicities or magical feelings of connection? And part of that is that we're often not really taught what they can look like or taught how they work. So one of the images I love is this idea of a call and response, that when someone dies, they cross the river, they're in the village of the ancestors. What does it mean to be in connection and communication? We have to learn that language, and it's a back and forth kind of language. And it is about learning a language. So if I flew to Papua New Guinea and got off a plane and tried to talk to someone, there would be a lot of grunting and pointing. It would be very crude until we figured out that, oh, this is my name, this is your name, this is what a glass of water is. We develop this language. So it's a little bit the same between the village of the living and the village of the ancestors, trying to develop a language. It's like finding symbols that matter. And the vision I have, is this what's happening? I don't know. But the image I have is that the dead are sometimes like tossing these paper airplanes across. Right? Here's something. Here's a hummingbird 3 times in this configuration that feels a little different. Or there's some kind of classic signs. Here are feathers. Here are finding a dime on the ground, or could be anything. And they sort of toss these messages. And if we on this side say, oh, well, there's that song that happened again and again and again. Whenever I'm feeling blue and missing my mother, suddenly I hear her favorite song on the radio. Oh, maybe that's it. And so they toss these messages, and it's up to us to pick them up. And they may be tossing all sorts of messages. And the one we pick up, they go, oh, they got that one. Okay, now I'm going to send that song again. And we say, oh, this song means something. So we develop a set of codes or a kind of glossary of messages. The task is to pay attention and to trust. It's kind of believing without believing. We just say, well, maybe this is something. And what happens if I hold this as something and give this some weight and value? Does it start to get more meaning? It's about building this conversation together and trusting our experiences and trusting that these kind of ways of being in conversation across the veil don't look large in the physical world, but they feel large. So sometimes it's people, it'll be about finding a dime on the ground. And whenever they see a dime, they're like, oh, that was my brother. Yeah, I connect him with seeing a dime on the ground. And I've heard so many stories, people hiking in Nepal, and suddenly they look down and there's a Canadian dime on the ground. Like, it starts to get really inexplicable in a way. So trusting that at one hand you could say, well, it's just a dime on the ground. It doesn't mean anything. But if it feels like it means something, that's how to track what the significance of these is.